Alright, so desaware, Tox, dr.PuTTy, Nuke on Summer Arena. I saw this replay and thought it was a little bit interesting for you guys. For the uploader, Yusuf. I don't know how he wants it pronounced, but that's the way I pronounced it when I first read it, so that's the way I'll say it. For now, till I am corrected. Anyway, this is sort of a different example of a game. It is not pro level, but nobody gives anybody any advice or help. So I figured I would cast it just for the heck of it. Anyway, so the first thing is he went for a real barracks instead of a supply right at the start. So supply is a tiny bit delayed, and the first tunnel tiny bit delayed just because he went for that real barracks. But had a fake barracks there. Had two workers up here right at the start. dr.PuTTy, of course, went for this forward war factory, very aggressive, and he kept his command center, so you can tell right at the start this is not a big pro player playing ideally. Also, the worker is stuck in the war factory there. So he started getting his tunnels up and everything. But I noticed little things as the game went on, like this. Not building any extra workers, not to mention this is completely undefended and this is Nuke. So you see, that gets the worker. There's just nothing to stop even a dragon. Right at the start, he has to start getting a tunnel frantically. And he sent his tech up, which gets flamed away. You don't want to let that happen. Anyway, just to pause at your Tox. So, Tox versus Nuke. If you see this, then you probably want a few scorpions. And at the start of the game, you should already build or train a couple of terrorists just from your barracks to go to the middle to scout. Because if you would have seen this, and you had a terrorist, you could sit the terrorist in front and wait for a unit to come out, and then blow it up. It's a very easy way to do it. But you are going for the oil capture, which is very good. Very good move. He comes down on this side. You haven't scouted that yet, but yeah. Right at the start of the game here, I really hope you incorporate that into your GLA play, no matter what you're up against. On any map like this map, where there is a middle that both players can easily contend for, you should be sending terrorists right at the start, like two of them, right to the middle, to scout. And if you see something like this, just put a terrorist in front and wait. Pay attention to it too. You know, if he's paying attention, he might try to drive it through the back of the building, and then you won't be able to walk into it, blow it up. But yeah. That's about all. I mean, you can also have this worker by this point already walking up there. But anyway, continue with the replay. And you can see he's not that good of a player either because he actually let that work. Better player would not have allowed a random terrorist there to blow up the dragon. He would have flamed this all the way. And that would have been bad for you, very bad, because then he could have, even if not with that first one, with the second one, he definitely would have wiped this out, then just headed over here, and that would be game over for you. But anyway, yeah, he starts securing that there, which you don't even, doesn't matter, it's just a barracks. He really shouldn't build a barracks there, that makes no sense. I mean, it's not good for anything. Have it there. So he also doesn't repair his dragon tank, which isn't good either. And you send this rebel up, and then your worker, which is kind of late. He just goes over here to harass. You're still totally undefended. Only 4 worker inefficient supply. You send the workers away. That's kind of good, but they have nowhere to go. See, if you already had a tunnel there, you just pop something out. And he's going to lose another dragon. Another sign of a not so good player is keeping the rally point right in front of a tunnel or some other defenses. It's nice to clean that up. If you were a better player, he would have just went right around and flamed this. Or around this way, but most likely around this way. End of it. So then he does get a war factory up here, which should be... I mean, this should be bad for you, very bad. That he has these two, except he's not that good a player because he hasn't even taken your 3rd supply there. He has no defense in his own base. He does have radar, so he can see everything going on, which is nice. And then he goes and finally goes to burn this up, but you preemptively sell it. Which is good, just in time. One thing you could be doing, though, is having a technical with your RPGs in it, driving around, harassing, you know, trying to hunt dozers, trucks, do whatever. You know, you could even try to destroy this with him. Just drive around and harass this. You could have actually destroyed that pretty easily. Just sending 2 scorpions back here with an RPG tech would have been very bothersome. Again, he wastes a bunch of units there for no particularly good reason. Then you go in here and yeah, you can just clean that up pretty easily, but you still do stuff like that. Wouldn't happen in a good game. Very poor by him. But yeah, no workers being rebuilt here. No single scorpion tank to deal with that. And no truck going around to harass. Very slow, not many tunnels. And we do have income. We do have an oil. Could have also tried to take more oils. All you really have to do is walk rebels around. Most people, even pros, don't pay that much attention to rebels walking around or other stuff. This is still here, and you're rebuilding them, and you know it's here. Just do nothing about it. I mean, if he were a little bit more aware, he would just be driving back and forth. Just drive through there, go here, drive through there, go here. Be very annoying to you. And then you start driving back, which makes no sense. Just put it on guard here and pay attention to everything else. You do have money. You could have taken that supply. You could be going for the middle supply, building just so much more, doing so much more. And I know you're not really a tournament level competitive player, but you know, I still have to say all the things that could be done are rather vast compared to what you are doing here. Also a little point here, maybe a niche point, but see the little chevron? That's what that mark is called, is a chevron. And the more chevrons your tank has, for any unit, the better it is. When you have a building that's damaged like that, you should use one of these two, not this one to destroy it, because particularly this one, preferably. Well, either one really, but preferably this one because it's already scrapped. Should be the one that destroys that, because that would bring it up to 3 chevrons, which is called heroic in the game. And would fire really quickly, reload very quickly, have a little more armor, and auto repair. Very nice. Always do that with any unit. Should always use the weakest unit or the unit that would be best suited with the heroic promotion to destroy any highly damaged buildings. Anyway. We're really not spending enough money. Can you actually see that? Yes, you can see that. All that time you can see that. Just put 2 tanks in there, pop them out here, get that, expand to here, build tons of tunnels. Many more tunnels. Also, you just drive into here. I don't know where you were driving these tanks, but this is 0 Hour. It's not any of the other Command and Conquer games where driving with your tanks makes sense. It doesn't. Unless you're tank general. You should never just drive with your tanks. Usually drive in, engage, till you're either out of units or he is. Not many workers there. And not many workers here. Ideally, you want like 6 workers at every supply. Also, these RPGs have been standing here for like 3 minutes when they could have just been left on guard mode to do damage. You're just building tons of tanks. You should just build, with this income you have, you just build 2 more arms dealers and spam all just tanks. And keep getting them in the tunnels, popping them out of tunnels. I mean, you should have workers building tunnels everywhere. As Toxin, all throughout the game. As long as you have income, you should be putting down tunnels. But yeah, at this point in the game right here, you're really stagnant and not doing much. I mean, you're letting him build up. You're letting him get overlords. You're letting him do things that he should not be able to do. You also left this supply. He still has this oil. You haven't even attempted to take any back. This is a thing you really have to get over, is not knowing what stage in the game you're in. Because right now, at this point in the game here, you should identify that you have most of the map control, and he doesn't. You have a big army, and he doesn't. So you should assume that you have the advantage at this stage in the game, and you should really press that. Shouldn't let him do anything. You should just destroy him. Do everything you can. Why would you let him rebuild? But it doesn't look like you've diagnosed that. You have 4, 8, 12, 16 tanks here, 14 tanks here. So it doesn't look like you've diagnosed that yet, that you have enough tanks to just steamroll across the whole map into his base and destroy him. Oh boy. I mean, you don't even need a palace. In the situation you're in this game, you don't even need a palace. You don't need anything but tons of tanks. I mean, you're floating huge amount of money. You don't want to float money. Best thing you can do in a game like this is just build more production, more arms dealers, and more tanks, and more tunnels. And that's it. Nothing else. Just have a one-track mind for those 3 things. And overwhelm your opponent and win. Because right here, you've already put, just fast forward a little, you've already put 5 minutes or more onto the timer. And he didn't have anything. Put 5 minutes more onto the timer, and he never got anything out of it. He never went anywhere. You just let the game stagnate. Let it stagnate for that long. You really should avoid doing, because it wastes your time, your opponent's time, the viewer's time. But anyway, just to go over the points once more, just once more. If you have that kind of advantage, arms dealers, scorpion tanks, tunnels, and nothing else. And you will win most games that are like that against players like Dr.PuTTy. That's all.